Many of us know this building as the old Rebel Bowl, which was a very popular place for families to gather, but known for its cheeseburgers and fries, supposedly the best ever served in Fredericksburg. And it was so popular that there's actually a Facebook group that exists today called the Friends of the Rebel Bowl that post their memories of this building. After the building was purchased and renovated by Hunter Greenlaw Jr., the city moved the Department of Social Services, the Health Department, and the Regional Health Department to this building. Our mission here in our Social Services Department says in part to help people triumph over hardship. Thus, it was very appropriate that at the time the city took occupancy of this building, it named this building for two great humanitarians, Dr. Urbane Bass and Dr. Richard Ellison, and you will hear more about them shortly. Ultimately, the city purchased the building, and we have recently expanded the Department of Social Services here. Our recent renovations, thanks to our city manager, Tim Bertie, and the current board of the Social Services, have greatly improved the ability of this building to serve our citizens. But most importantly, we wish today to rededicate the building to Drs. Bass and Ellison, and to properly identify it with a historical placard and historical information in the lobby.
He was a medical doctor, which was almost unheard of for a man who looked like him in this country during his time. We also know of many of the challenges that he faced and the contributions that he made to the Fredericksburg community. I believe that Dr. Bass was a man on a mission. Why else would a man leave his family to go off to a foreign country to fight in World War I at the risk of losing his own life? Dr. Bass was that kind of man because he knew that he needed elsewhere. On April 6, 1917, the United States declared war on Germany. Dr. Bass did not hesitate to volunteer his services and expertise to his country. Though he was in his late 30s and well beyond the age to be drafted, Dr. Bass appealed to the United States Secretary of War, requesting that he be permitted to serve in the Medical Service Corps. Dr. Bass knew that without the services of African American doctors, so many of the nearly 350,000 African American troops that fought in the segregated army of that day would have very little chance of survival if they were injured. Dr. Bass won his appeal, and he entered the army to help his fellow men. Dr. Bass served with great distinction throughout his tour of duty, but on October 6, 1918, only 5 weeks after 5 weeks before the end of the war, Dr. Bass was mortally wounded on the battlefield in France while giving aid to a wounded soldier. He was struck by an enemy mortar and he lost both legs above the knee. He died within minutes from a contribution of shocks and blood loss. I believe that Dr. Bass was a man sent to us to do exactly what he did, to help others at the cost of his own life. Dr. Bass was a true patriotic leader. Dr. Urban Francis Bass was a man ahead of his time.
Came to Fredericksburg about 14 years after the loss of Dr. Bass. The fact that Dr. Ellison even chose this area following in the footsteps of Dr. Bass tells you a little something about the man. Dr. Ellison and Dr. Bass located their offices on Amelia Street. They were in different locations, but their offices were both on Amelia Street. Was that a coincidence? Who knows? Dr. Ellison always fought for those who were less fortunate, and his fights helped change Fredericksburg in a positive way. He is credited with countless numbers of acts of kindness in the community, but he was also an active and fearless supporter of the civil rights movement in this area. I learned that Dr. Ellison was the family physician for my grandparents, my great-grandparents, and my great-great-grandparents. My grandfather and my grandmother both share many of their fond memories with me, recalling the days when he was their doctor. My grandfather enjoyed a very special relationship with the doc, as he called her. I believe that Dr. Ellison was also sent to Fredericksburg to help this community continue on the road to a positive change. While Dr. Ellison was not a national hero, he was clearly a hero in the eyes of many people in this community. He gave the community 51 years of outstanding medical service. He also broke a number of racial barriers and stereotypes. Before Dr. Ellison's death in 1990, he left us with a quote that I believe summed up the man that he was. Dr. Ellison said, "Everybody faces discrimination, sometimes no matter what color you are, but this town's been good to me, and I hope I've given some back to it. What I've done is try to practice good, honest medicine. It's nothing fancy, but I've done my best." On a personal note, I have asked myself the question, what would Dr. Bass and Dr. Ellison have to say about Fredericksburg today? What do you think that the two doctors would have to say?
There's very little that I can add that hasn't already been written or said about these two men whom we salute this afternoon. We are better off as a result of their time in Fredericksburg. As an African-American man who grew up in the city and who lived and worked in the city for 32 years, I say to both Doctors Bass and Ellison, thank you for allowing me to stand on your shoulders to find my way. I believe Rommel asked each of you an interesting question, and at the conclusion of his remarks. Would Doctors Ellison and Bass, what would they say of Fredericksburg today? Somehow, I think they would both be very proud of today, the city of Fredericksburg today. But they would most assuredly charge us with one responsibility: to keep doing more to help others in the future. Thank you.